Ah yes, going fast in block game. Given that Minecraft is the sandbox game, it should come as no surprise that the
speedrunning methods, as well as the cheats, are only limited by your imagination. This video barely scratches the surface of Minecraft speedrunning, and it's already quite long. So comment below if there's any ones I've missed that you'd like to see in a part 2, and be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Okay gamers, put on your masks and ready your Google Docs as we mine our way into the many scandals of Minecraft speedrunning. Dream! The mask-wearing Minecraft maestro loves nothing more than breaking blocks and fostering the sort of unhealthy parasocial audience that every creator dreads. He was also a Minecraft speedrunner for a brief minute, until it turned out he'd been cheating. Or had he? Dream began his YouTube journey in 2014, originally under the username Dream Traps, short for Dream Traps Children. 5 years later, he posted his first video, titled "This Cursed Minecraft Video Will Trigger You," where he purposefully plays the game in an uncomfortable, annoying, dare I say triggering way. This intentional aggravation set an annoying tone that both him and his fan base seem to have taken to heart. In the same way that the Jeffrey Dahmer series was so popular, everyone and their Minecraft playing dog wants to see Dream's origin story. So this video has a whopping 18.6 million views. Credit where credit's due. He's particularly adept at YouTube and seems to have a good grasp on how to cater for the algorithm. His content ranged from interesting mods to unsolved Minecraft mysteries to his most famous series, Minecraft Child Hunt. This series involved Dream trying to speedrun Minecraft while other players would do anything they could to stop him. These videos helped launch him into the limelight. With YouTube's 2020, we're sorry about the 2018 YouTube rewind, please enjoy this fake rewind instead, listing him in the top spot of their breakout creators list. Dream had it all: fame, fortune, females of questionable age. But he wanted more. He wanted to be a speedrunning champion. After weeks of practicing, he uploaded his first actual speedrun in March of 2020. This first upload was a 32:21:28 in the any percent glitchless random seed 1.14 category. By June, he managed to briefly nab the world record in the any percent glitchless random seed 1.15 category with a 22:06:90. For those of you who have no idea about Minecraft speedrunning, first of all, thank you for clicking on this video anyway, and secondly, let me explain to you what that category means. Any percent glitchless means that speedrunners have to complete the game and reach the end credits by jumping into the portal after defeating the Ender Dragon, as fast as they can without abusing glitches. Random seed refers to the fact that runners of this category must do so on a random seed, or world, every time. This means that they can't practice an optimal route and instead rapidly improvise their way to victory. Finally, the number at the end denotes which version of the game is being run. Each version brings new mechanics, bugs, and fixes, which often change what strategies are going to be the most effective for speedrunners. So when Java Edition 1.16 dropped 12 days after Dream's world record setting run, Minecraft speedrunning was about to have a major shakeup. I mentioned that to complete an any percent run, you have to defeat the Ender Dragon. But what does that actually involve? Getting to the end in Minecraft involves going to the end in Minecraft. Around that house is the Ender Dragon, who's a huge chode or something. I'm still not sure why we're meant to kill him actually. The end is accessible through a portal found in strongholds, which in turn require up to 12 Eyes of Ender to activate. Each of the portal frames has a 10% chance to spawn with an Eye of Ender in it, so you'd almost never have to actually get all 12. Theoretically, one could spawn with all 12 eyes, but this has odds of 1 in a trillion, which isn't the last time I'll be bringing up unlikely odds in this story. To get Eyes of Ender, you first have to get an Ender Pearl from backhanding an Enderman. Next, you need obsidian to make a trip to the Nether, a hell-like realm of suffering and despair, modelled after Melbourne's public transport system. Once there, runners have to find a fortress, assassinate the blazes within, and steal their rods to make blaze powder. This blaze powder is then combined with Ender Pearls to finally create Eyes of Ender. You still with me? Before 1.16, the best way to obtain Ender Pearls was by hunting down Endermen who would drop a single pearl at a rate of 50%, or trading with a villager, although this method was very unreliable. But the new update allowed you to barter gold with piglins, a pig-like monster who resides in hell, much like your mother. These pigros had a 2.18% chance of giving 2 to 4 Ender Pearls in exchange for a gold ingot, which granted isn't anywhere close to 50%, but if they're dropping up to 4 pearls and you could barter with a bunch of them at once, the maths work out to make this the far superior strategy. Random seed Minecraft speedruns were always insanely RNG dependent, meaning there are situations that even the best runners can't improvise their way out of. Although it's the name of the game, it's still incredibly frustrating to lose a potential record. Not because you played poorly, but because the game decided to have a sulk. Dream began struggling to get off his mattress and expressed his frustration over a series of unlucky runs he'd had. In these runs, he just couldn't quite get the right combination of piglin and stronghold spawns, among other things, resulting in a number of annoying resets. But he pressed on nonetheless, and it wouldn't be long before his perseverance was rewarded. After throwing away his normal pills, Dream started going hard on his speedrun attempts. In October of 2022, he smashed out over 24 hours of speedruns before cracking a new personal best, 19:25:10, which put him in the number 4 spot on the 1.16 leaderboards. Dream's 10 million subscribers were ecstatic for him, but this massive fan base also lent him increased scrutiny. A week later, Dream was called out by none other than MinecrAvengers, a titan within the Minecraft speedrun community who already had a number of world records under his belt. That being said, his record isn't exactly clean either, as you'll see later in the video. As a form of self-inflicted torture, MinecrAvengers sat through all 24 hours of Dream speedruns and concluded that the piglins were trading Ender Pearls at a rate of 15%, 5 times higher than their actual rate. He brought these findings to Twitter, and in true Dream fashion, he acts like a huge cunt about it. Naturally, all of his replies are fans telling him that statistics are for nerds and they love him all the same. Meanwhile, the speedrun.com mods didn't want to rush such a high-profile investigation, and it took them until December 11th to post their findings, a day after Dream hit 14 million subscribers. This 29-page report was accompanied by a fantastic breakdown video by one of the mods, GeoSquare. This video breaks down the maths involved using advanced statistical wizardry. It also revealed that, in addition to the unusually high drop rate of Ender Pearls, the blaze rods he needed for blaze powder dropped at a rate of around 69% instead of the normal 50%. This proves that, even when skewing the bias in Dream's favour, the odds that he would get unusually high Ender Pearls and unusually high blaze rod rates is around 1 in 7.5 trillion. So yeah, not exactly high. Given this insane luck, it's exceptionally unlikely that he just naturally received these high drop rates, and much more likely that he modified his game in some way in order to increase them. One of the things Dream repeatedly brings up is that because these runs weren't world records, the scrutiny on him is unjustified. I don't know about you, but to me it makes sense that you should maybe double check that the Minecraft speedrunning community isn't being misrepresented or undermined by what was, at the time, one of the biggest Minecraft content creators. When Polygon questioned this, GeoSquare, who was emerging as a face for the mods throughout the scandal, explained that placement never mattered. Any run can be subject to scrutiny, of course. In this case, after members in our community brought the exceptional numbers to light, it would have been disingenuous not to look into it just because it was not a world record. It's also worth noting that, unlike other methods of cheating such as splicing, there's rarely concrete evidence when it comes to skewing drop rates. This is why investigators are forced to resort to maths of all things, and even then, the cheating is understood in terms of chance and likelihood rather than some kind of gotcha evidence. Despite the report's concerted effort to account for bias, Dream took all of this as a targeted attack. He's a role model for kids, after all, and Dream loves kids more than most, so he couldn't take the accusations that he's a dirty, lying cheater lying down. Immediately following the report, he shared a very sarcastic tweet about the bias specifically. "Thank you for the totally unbiased 2-month, 29-page investigation into whether a 16th place run had too good luck that was then made into a clickbait YouTube video by a head moderator. What a shocker. Responding to the accusations, he claims that he has always complied with the moderation team and supplied them with anything they have requested. In response to GeoSquare, Dream uploaded his own now deleted response video rebutting his claims. Between some illegible graphs and goofy ass conspiracy music that sounds like he's fighting for the mic with the synthesizer from Stranger Things.
After extensive research into the mod's math and the logic and reasoning behind this math, the expert found that the math was off.
He argues the math is wrong and the examples cherry-picked. He also asks what motive he would have to cheat, as his speedrunning videos and streams don't do nearly as good as his other content, and most of the supposedly cheated runs weren't submitted to leaderboards anyway. He also calls out what he claims is unfair treatment or even harassment from some of the members of the mod staff, while also apologizing for the immature knee-jerk reaction he had to being called a cheater. To help argue the maths, he hires a Harvard PhD astrophysicist to review the data, which is a really funny idea. Probably after spending 5 seconds reading Dream's comments, the astrophysicist asked to remain anonymous. He also doesn't play Minecraft because he's a Harvard PhD astrophysicist, so he can only view the data that is supplied to him by Dream along with Dream's explanations. Ironically, this skewed lens only led to far more bias and errors than the original report. The astrophysicist concluded that the odds Dream encountered were much better than 1 in 7.5 trillion, and while still unlikely, weren't impossible. The speedrun.com moderators correct the astrophysicist's findings in another document that really makes my brain feel smoother than a chicken fillet. But if you want to try deciphering these eldritch runes yourself, I've linked to all these resources in the description. After reviewing this response, the astrophysicist concludes that while he thinks their 1 in 7.5 trillion odds are still too strong, he believes the odds are actually closer to 1 in 100 million. Because of this, he concludes that the drop rates were almost certainly modified, and this provides very strong evidence that Dream cheated. Surely this will be enough to finally get Dream to admit that he cheated. Well, yes, actually. On May 29th, 2021, Dream tweeted a pastebin link with a 2,700 word apology and admission that he cheated unintentionally, in stark contrast to the normal showerings of praise and support that staunchly refute the idea that he could ever cheat. His fans became suddenly indifferent to the whole situation. While he admits that he did actually cheat, he clarifies that he did so accidentally. So how do you accidentally cheat at Minecraft? According to Dream, it's because there was a mod installed that he had no way of knowing about. First, we need to define some terms. Plugins are essentially mods installed on a Minecraft server and are the kind of thing that Dream uses for his regular videos, which he always records in an external multiplayer server. Mods refer to client-side alterations to the game, meaning they're stored on the player's computer rather than the server that the player connects to. All speedruns are performed client-side, so plugins cannot impact a speedrun. Therefore, the goofy mechanics that Dream uses in his normal content can't be what altered his speedrun drop rates. Now, unless a small green man ran into your house at night and turned your computer on, which I swear has fucking happened to me, okay, like at least twice. But unless that happened, surely you'd know that you installed a mod locally, right? It turns out that Dream had hired a developer to code plugins for his server to support his normal content creation. After his paranoia-fueled tunnel vision chilled out, he finally thought to question this developer to see if a disallowed mod had been used. To his surprise, the developer wasn't aware Dream exclusively records his normal content in a multiplayer server and assumed he would sometimes record challenge videos client-side. So, without getting permission, the developer made changes to the client-side mods that impacted quality of life stuff like graphics, loading times, and most importantly, drop rates. Dream would usually have drop rates improved when recording non-speedrunning videos for convenience, as these were for entertainment and not genuine record setting. Because he only had experience with server-side plugins, and because the Fabric mod loader logs only showed mods that choose to be shown, he had no reason to believe there was a disallowed mod impacting his speedruns in any way. As you'd expect, the developer didn't come forward on his own out of fear of losing his job or harassment. Now, this is all according to Dream and the developer, but even as someone who's a bit of a self-described Dream hater, it kind of makes sense given the behavior of all parties involved. You would have to be a legitimate psychopath to spend months arguing you're innocent, hiring a mathematician and cherry-picking the evidence so he supports your claim, as well as putting out videos and documents reaffirming your innocence if you knew the whole time that you were in fact cheating. Keep in mind that this was also over a run that wasn't even a world record, at a time when Dream had no real incentive to partake in speedrunning outside of personal enjoyment. I'm only able to give this explanation because of Carl Jobs, a highly respected and knowledgeable member of the speedrunning community and fellow person who talks funny. He uploaded an extensive breakdown of the entire drama on June 30th, 2021. Interviewing figures like the astrophysicist and Dream's developer, and making information public that was previously unknown. But before Carl's video, and even after it to an extent, all the average person could take away from the drama was that there was a mod that he failed to notice because he was too lazy to check, or because the cheating was intentional all along. I'll be honest, I was impressed by Dream seeming to learn from the situation and actually take responsibility for his actions. Well, and then bad music, face reveal, grooming fans, yada yada yada, gets into an Uber with Gumball and gets called a Not every cheater in the speedrunning community is capable of programming modifications like Dream's developer, and instead opt for the sort of cheating you can do with Windows Live Movie Maker. Splicing involves putting two perfect sections of two different speedruns onto a crafting table in order to craft one perfect speedrun. Now, it requires intense attention to detail to Frankenstein a run like that without leaving a trace, but most people aren't watching through runs frame by frame. In the past, this has allowed some really sloppy runners to get away with it for way longer than they should have, especially prior to Dream sending Minecraft speedrunning into the stratosphere. But after one too many betrayals from high-ranking community members, more and more people began to look back on old famous runs in the hopes of catching a crook. And it wouldn't take long for them to find someone who couldn't splice to save their life. NicoCraft is some kind of Minecraft prodigy, as his very first YouTube upload was of a world record. Of course, this is a video about Minecraft speedrunning cheaters, so I guess I can't really build up that suspense anymore. Ooh, but how did he cheat? Oh wait, no, NicoCraft's first submitted world record was a runtime of 3:59.71 in the any percent set speed glitchless peaceful category in April of 2019. While Dream preferred random seed glitchless runs, where you tackle a randomly generated world and have to quickly find all those key places like the Stronghold and the 7-Eleven, NicoCraft focused on set seed glitchless, or SSG, pronounced sk. Instead of random seeds, these runs were done on optimal seeds identified by the community and practiced over and over by speedrunners to refine their times. The peaceful mode of the SSG category is nowhere near as popular as the regular version, so competition wasn't as fierce, but setting a world record was still impressive for a new entrant to the scene. Not only that, but he beat the previous world record by a whopping 47 seconds. This is huge no matter the run, but as SSG runs are only a few minutes long each, this shaved off around 20% of the previous record held by Spoon TY. Proof standards weren't super high back then, and it wasn't a major category, so even though the first run had no sound and the second run broke rules around showing the F3 screen, it was still accepted onto the Minecraft speedrun leaderboards. Despite the obscurity of the category, a clickbait title and general ignorance of the audience on YouTube led to this video receiving an insane 11 million views. But this success only cemented his downfall. Much like Dream, the more attention your speedruns get, the more they'll be scrutinized. And in March of 2023, NicoCraft was hit with the cheating allegations. At this stage, the proof that he was cheating was based on strange Ender Dragon behavior, which was suspicious, but not definitive. That was until a month later, when community member Eliotex made a breakthrough while investigating Nico's second world record run. In order to cross a river at the start of the run, he uses TNT blocks he nicked from a desert pyramid, but after spawning back into his world after beating the Ender Dragon, they're nowhere to be found. This reignited the interest in NicoCraft's dodgy runs, and after a thorough investigation, Eliotex and CrafterDark put out a document and a video outlining all of NicoCraft's cheats. In addition to the amazing case of the disappearing TNT, his second run had a number of oddities that can only be explained by splicing two different runs together. Clouds in Minecraft move at a snail's pace, so a run of only a few minutes should still show the same clouds at the end as there were at the start. Instead, Nico's run shows completely different cloud patterns compared to the beginning. Numerous cacti in the desert biome have also grown an extra block between the start and the end, something which normally takes 18 minutes. Not 3. They were finally able to prove that his first run was faked as well. Normally you need to eat food to maintain the hunger bar, in real life, but also in Minecraft. If you don't, a hidden mechanism called saturation depletes, and once that reaches 0, the hunger bar starts depleting. On peaceful mode, the hunger bar doesn't deplete, but the drumsticks still move once saturation reaches 0, which takes about 30 seconds. So, as expected, 30 seconds into the run, Nico crafts saturation empties and the drumsticks start moving. They should keep moving for the rest of the run, but after he enters the end portal, they freeze and don't start again for another 30 seconds. This is where he spliced. Prior to entering the end, NicoCraft created a backup file that he could use to repeatedly create new versions of the same world, which would duplicate over his items, XP, and location, but not his saturation. He would then use this copy to repeatedly run the end. But why would he do this? In pre-1.9 versions, a common tactic is to stab Endermen with a box cutter, grab them by the ender pearls, and then use these pearls to climb towers, as they teleport you to wherever you throw them. If you destroy the crystals atop those towers as they attempt to heal the dragon, they instead deal 10 damage to his sorry ass. Of course, in peaceful mode, there aren't any Endermen, and because the tower height is random in these versions, you instead have to hope the towers that spawn are short in order to minimize your climbing time. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. NicoCraft would splice good luck with the towers with a run that was paced well in the lead up to entering the end. You'd think these guys would just pick a game with better RNG, huh? He was ultimately banned from speedrun.com and uploaded a statement to his YouTube channel where he claimed that it was all done to get Minecraft speedrunning more attention. Which, I mean, good job, I guess. You did it! Great job. Because he was satisfied with having inspired a lot of people to join the Minecraft speedrun community, he says that he wasn't fazed with his records being taken down. Despite trying to position himself as the good guy, he failed to apologize for letting down the very people he allegedly hoped to inspire. I mentioned earlier that that wasn't the last time you'd be hearing about this guy. German speedrunner MinecrAvengers was ostensibly a very talented player himself. Despite mainly running SSG, MinecrAvengers had a number of world records across both SSG and RSG over the years, as well as a number of records set in the duos category with his twin brother Nice Twice. This extensive resume meant that his accusations against Dream held significant weight, as only a professional speedrunner could spot such outrageous luck. But what if he only noticed because he was doing the exact same thing? Not even 2 weeks after he sowed the seeds of doubt about Dream streams, he was on pace for a record that ultimately failed. Of course, nobody wants to hear about the time you almost got the world record. So what made this run special is that the final boss, the Ender Dragon, was acting weird. Because taking on the dragon usually requires decent supplies and weapons that simply take too long or add too much RNG to acquire, speedrunners instead use beds. As a way to stop players using beds in the end and the nether, the developers programmed it so that your bed would explode when you attempt to sleep in it, which is pretty good as far as deterrents go. This explosion damages you, the surrounding area, and, most importantly, the Ender Dragon. In order to get him in range, runners bait the dragon into approaching the fountain in the middle of the map to perch on it and nail him with the bed at just the right time. As you can imagine, the faster you can get the dragon to perch, the faster you can do damage to it, and the faster it can be killed. MinecrAvengers' dragon perched so fast that even he commented on it himself, titling the failed run as the fastest perch ever witnessed. Maybe he couldn't help bragging about it, but uploading this for people to scrutinize was a big mistake. Speedrunners are after any tricks they can use to shave off those precious nanoseconds, and if someone claims they've found the fastest route of, well, anything, it will be researched, reverse engineered, and recreated. What these speedrunners found while drooling over MinecrAvengers' run contradicted everything they knew about the Ender Dragon AI. Essentially, the Ender Dragon is meant to move between different invisible nodes, so for it to perch on the fountain, it would first have to fly to the closest node to the fountain. MinecrAvengers' dragon seems to ignore these nodes entirely, and instead beelines it to the fountain. The community noticed, but nobody was quite sure how it happened. MinecrAvenger had a decent amount of records under his belt, and his work exposing Dream had cemented him as a respectable figure within the community. For all everyone knew, this deranged dragon's dealings were because of some element of its AI that wasn't yet understood. On November 2nd, MinecrAvenger found himself on another world record pace, but this time, he didn't choke. With the dragon once again beelining for the IRA-themed explosive bed, he earned the world record for SSG with a time of 2:27. Analysing this run showed the dragon perched 2 seconds faster than the theoretical limit. Once again, rival runners tried and failed to replicate this abnormal dragon AI. What was MinecrAvenger doing differently? 2 years pass, and new, better seeds had been found in version 1.15. MinecrAvenger turned his attention back to this version in the hopes of reclaiming a record in the category that started his career. On September 5th, 2022, he did exactly that, and finished with a time of 2:06. But again, something was fishy. In order to quickly go to HE double hockey sticks, speedrunners steal obsidian from a blacksmith's chest, which has random spawn rates each run. The Minecraft speedrun community must have felt some collective deja vu as people noticed that MinecrAvenger had unusually good luck with how much obsidian would spawn in each of these chests. This was great for MinecrAvenger, as most runners would have to keep resetting until they got good obsidian RNG. He was so lucky, in fact, that even his twin brother and duo run partner Nice Twice commented on his luck during a run.
That's a good entry. It's okay, I guess. You have another entry? Yeah.
At the end of October, people began to investigate MinecrAvenger's luck, both with the obsidian and the Ender Dragon. While the dragon's weird behavior could still just be something the public doesn't understand about the code, the doubts around obsidian drop rates were much easier to prove. Obviously. Sorry, we just did this like 5 minutes ago. Over the course of these runs, MinecrAvenger had looted 769 obsidian out of 290 chests, which is a likelihood of around 1 in 28 billion. However, unlike Dream's suspiciously high drop rates, they had another method of verification. You see, while unlikely odds are still technically possible thanks to the power of RNG, the fact that he was playing on a set seed run means that they were able to figure out that he was getting chests that are physically impossible to spawn in vanilla Minecraft. As quoted from Lewis Fullman's Tumblr post, in 1.15, all of the loot is generated according to a specific structure seed, which is replicable, of which there are 2 to the power of 48 possible layouts of chests. Matthew Boland, a head mod from the Minecraft speedrun community, was able to code a program to check each structure seed against previously suspicious chest loot from MinecrAvenger's streams. The very first chest he got is not generatable in vanilla Minecraft on the seed which was being played, which has led the mod team to revoke MinecrAvenger's access to the speedrunning leaderboards. With the cat out of the inventory, people began trawling over his past speedruns in order to find any other examples of cheating, and they quickly turned up multiple examples of splicing. If done properly, this can be almost impossible to detect, but MinecrAvenger did it so sloppily, it's a surprise nobody noticed sooner. His June 2020 1.14 SSG world record time of 3:18 was spliced. And he even did some light editing by cutting out achievement pop-ups from one run and overlaying them on the other to make it more believable. Of course, as the text box is slightly transparent, you can actually see snippets from the spliced run in the background. Keep in mind that this was his first world record just 2 weeks into his speedrunning career. His August 17, 2020 SSG run of 2:56 was the first sub 3-minute run ever submitted, but this too was spliced. When you swap items on your action bar, that item's name appears on screen, but in this run, the name of the obsidian block appears after he's already holding it, because this is where he spliced in a different run. His August 31st, 2020 RSG of 2247 wasn't a record, but it was still in the top 10. A really obvious teleporting mouse revealed it was spliced to hide the fact that he had practiced what should have been a random seed. With irrefutable proof of his splicing, MinecrAvengers was forced to concede he cheated, but he remained adamant that the obsidian chest spawns were legit. Like Dream, who I'll remind you he personally called out for having unreasonably high drop rates, he claimed that the runs that got him banned were cherry-picked. Of course, sample size no longer matters, as the statistically high drop rates were no longer the problem, but the fact that the chest item spawns he received are physically impossible in an unmodified version of Minecraft. It would take him another month to finally admit he was cheating, which at least is a better turnaround than Dream. His German nature shines through as his admission is blunt and to the point. Like, it's so short, it makes me laugh. A lot of people were cut up about this. While Dream has pretty much always been a polarizing figure, MinecrAvengers was considered an upstanding guy. Come January, he uploaded a Q&A video which explains why he cheated, alongside other important questions.
I never cheated on a girl.
His reasons for cheating boiled down to his frustrations around the random nature of the format. As I mentioned earlier, nothing is quite as infuriating as failing a perfect speedrun because the game just goes at the last minute. By fudging the obsidian spawns and guaranteeing speedy purchase from the Ender Dragon, he was able to alleviate some of this RNG. Of course, the more logical approach would be to simply speedrun a game that isn't as reliant on RNG. He also explains that cheating allowed him to apply both of his passions at once, Minecraft and coding, living the dream. He also says that he kept his brother nice twice in the dark, as he knew that he would force him to come clean if he found out. Tragically, this meant that MinecrAvengers let his brother publicly defend him before the truth came out. While they're still close, he admits that his brother can no longer fully trust him. Since the drama, MinecrAvengers still speedruns the game for fun, but as he's banned from speedrun.com, can no longer submit his runs. Of course, when you fall down the rabbit hole of speedrunning internet drama, you can see someone's reputation get destroyed and just assume the worst for them. But the reality is that none of this actually matters. While he rarely posts anymore, MinecrAvengers gave us an update in August of 2023. He's since gotten a new car, a new apartment, got buff, and wrote his master's thesis. What have you done with your life? All I've done is start playing Genshin Impact. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, champ. Sorry if I sound a bit nasally, I caught a cold, I hope that wasn't obvious. If you like that video, you'll definitely love one of these two, either on Mario speedrunning scandals or Zelda speedrunning scandals. Bitch!